SR Tayal, now there's questions about whether the inability to come up with a joint communique would be seen as a blow for the host nation, or do you think it doesn't really matter? The theory that Shashi Tharoor, who's an expert in diplomatic affairs, he's also a member of the opposition, but what he says is go ahead with a joint communique with the wordings changing to suggest that a majority of the nations were of the view, acknowledging the fact that China and Russia had a different viewpoint, but don't go away from having a joint communique. How important does the presence or absence of a joint communique become in determining whether this meeting was a success or a failure?
See, we should not lose sight of the fact that all these meetings, whether finance minister or foreign minister level meetings, are preparatory to the actual summit. These are not the final destination. These are not the final communique. These are preparatory. So we should not be too much concerned about a communique, joint communique, accepted communique at this stage. Unfortunately, the timing of Foreign Ministers' Conference has not been properly chosen. It is just a week after the first year of Ukraine-Russia war, and everybody is very primed up, and this opportunity of forum will be used by the West to attack Russia. Russia will be forced to defend itself. There is absolutely no chance of having a joint communique. We should not even spend too much of political capital on that.
No, but they could have delayed, but there was a calendar in place for G20. Now that calendar cannot match, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. There are 20 countries here. So Russia cannot become the centerpiece necessarily. There are other issues of the global south that will also be raised.
Exactly. So India's emphasis and focus should be to shift the agenda to economic matters. So the two sessions, first session is on multilateralism, food and energy. Second session on counter-terrorism, which remains a very important point for India's concern. So why should we be guided by the Western or Russian agenda? We should be guided by our own agenda of the global south, and agenda of the majority of the group of 20 countries. So I do not see much importance be given to a joint communique, which is absolutely not possible.
Okay, so you're saying don't hype up the joint communique, it's unlikely to come, and that can't be the yardstick to determine success or failure. The other question, of course, what happened in that big meeting in Kang, the new Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister and Dr. Jaishankar, which starts in a few minutes from now, once the meeting with Blinken finishes. Prabhu Dayal, given the impasse on the border in the Depsang and Demchok sectors of the line of actual control, and given the fact that Xi Jinping is likely to visit India twice, once for SCO and the other time for the leadership summit of the G20, is there likely that there could be a dialing back of some of the hostilities, or will things stay the way that they are?
Well, first let me bring in a cricketing analogy.
Go for it.
Growing up, my favorite batsman was the legendary Dilip Sardesai because he could bat in difficult conditions. India is batting in difficult conditions. There is the Russia-Ukraine war, which brings in its own impact. There is the border tension with China, which doesn't seem to be going away. But India is like Dilip Sardesai. It will bat it out and do well in these difficult conditions. Now, as regards the bilateral meeting with China, I don't expect any huge breakthrough. But for sure, the subjects relating to the escalation of tension and the issues of de-escalation will certainly figure in these discussions. Foreign Minister Jaishankar will take up the thorny issues with the Chinese Foreign Minister. Whether or not there will be a way found for coming out of these difficult situations, I don't know. But they will certainly figure, and it will depend on the realities of the ground situation. What is the brief which the Chinese Foreign Minister is carrying?